It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley are back in Holland. They're broadcasting to us from Amsterdam, or near Amsterdam, Haarlem, actually. And they'll be showing us HoloLens and some advancements there, answering some questions from the audience, and a lot more. And, of course, yeah, there's some beer involved. Windows Weekly is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, episode 523, recorded Wednesday, June 21st, 2017. The Harlem Shuffle. Windows Weekly is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Home plays a big role in your life. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It lets you apply simply and understand the entire mortgage process fully so you can be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Get started at rocketmortgage.com/windows. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show we get together with Paul and Mary Jo and talk about Windows Weekly, not just Windows, but Microsoft, all the stuff happening in Redmond. And today, it's a special day. Paul and Mary Jo are back in Holland, the Netherlands. You're in Haarlem again. Hello, Paul.
Hello,
Mary
Leo.
Jo.
Hello, Leo.
And you're at a live event where?
At the Philharmonie.
Philharmonie.
Yeah, I guess.
It looks pretty fancy.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
fancy.
actually really nice. In fact, unfortunately, you're not really seeing how beautiful it is. But I don't want to touch anything because
No.
I can't imagine why
15
not.
minutes of screw-ups.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful location and right in Haarlem.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you've got beer.
I have
We
wine.
Mary
but they
Jo
have
has beer.
Yes,
We
I do.
had a very sullen live audience, and then suddenly they figured out there was a live bar right behind them, and
Right.
everything fine now.
Everybody got really happy. And there's
Yep.
somebody sitting between you. Maybe you want to introduce your guests for today.
Yes, I will. I'm going to give the name my best attempt here. Joost van Schaik from Wartel.
Yep.
And he is the lead HoloLens developer there. So
Oh,
maybe you
exciting.
can guess what we're going to talk about and show here.
Right.
Now
Actually,
Wartel, when we did the HoloLens demo last time, was that also Wartel?
Yes.
It was,
Yeah, that was
and
very
actually,
cool.
it was his demos that we were doing, but he was out of the country
You
or
were
he was
away.
traveling, I believe.
I was just back of the country, but I was in the United States for like 10 days, and I just landed. I was like had
And you
jet
couldn't
lag.
make it over to see our show.
No, sorry. Maybe I could have made it alive to the show, but
Yeah.
probably not alive back.
No.
Well, good. So that
Yeah.
means, am I correct in thinking another fabulous HoloLens demo?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, based on the previous almost hour, I would say
Now,
We're gonna
Paul,
get- we're gonna
no
try
one
that.
knows that we took a little time. That was more actually for the podcast audio than anything else. I think the HoloLens will work fine, right?
yeah, I think so too.
All
right, so
take
how
it
do you
away.
want-
It's all yours.
All right. So I will display what he's seeing. So the one thing we're going to miss on this demo compared to last time is there's no real way to connect to the HoloLens apparently. So
No, there is a way,
It's a
isn't it?
minor
You're going to do
detail.
that.
Paul's going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
All right.
So let's see. Here we go. Okay, I was going to say the one big difference between last year and this year is we don't really have an external shot of him. Remember, we had Mary
Right.
Jo doing it. You could see her doing it.
Well, I kind of like it when it puts on the.
What I
thing.
can do is walk up to the mirror.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
That's what a
Yeah.
lot of
So
people are
this
going to
is,
be doing.
This is the intrepid audience.
Yes, we have a live audience here who stuck with us through the setup. Thank you.
Thank you.
I never would have stayed here for you guys.
No,
but that's
me
good.
neither.
So I'm live spatial mapping everybody.
Wow.
So tell us what you're going to show us. That might be a good way to start.
Okay, we have developed an app that was like a runaway Moonlight project. I stem from GIS, Geographical Information Systems. I've worked there for like 20 years before joining Wartel, and I basically made a 3D map of the whole world. You can basically go everywhere and show the map instantly, walk over it. and also ask.
Is it to scale? So like 1 inch equals 1 inch?
No, it's actually. You can actually do zoom in and zoom out if you like. Till very large scale. I have, for instance, in the app there are some pre-baked beautiful vistas like Mount Everest and the
Nice.
Kilimanjaro. They will look very big in this room. So, shall I give it a shot?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, look, he just threw a menu up on the screen. And now it says,
It's working.
work the word.
Walk the world.
Walk the world.
Walk the world.
Walk the world. So is this roughly what Joost is seeing in the screen in his HoloLens?
Yes.
Okay, so that tells me to look at the floor.
So he's looking down at the floor and getting a prompt, it looks like.
Yes.
Thanks for shouting. Wow,
There you
there's
go.
a mountain in the middle of the floor, and the audience is sitting next to it and on it. Wow.
This is actually Mount Kilimanjaro.
Mount
Yep,
Kilimanjaro.
Mount Kilimanjaro.
Okay. And a giant hand has popped up behind Mount Kilimanjaro. So as it stands now, it looks like the HoloLens mountain covers over whatever's behind it. Like I see your hand only when it emerges from behind the mountain. And look, it's flowing around the
Yep.
columns
Yeah.
and the people's feet. Wow, that's cool.
It's cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually gotten colder in here, Leo. It's amazing.
Wow, that's a very realistic, yeah.
Select Vista. So, Leo, weren't you at Machu Picchu?
I was at Machu Picchu. Yeah, can you go to Machu Picchu? Man, you would have saved me thousands of dollars if I had this. You know, it's funny. I used a Gear 360 to make a bunch of 360-degree videos of Machu Picchu and the Galapagos.
Nice.
But so that's the difference. That is immersive. You have to put on the visor and you can't see anything else. This is
Yep.
putting Machu Picchu in the room with you. There it is. There it is. That's neat. And that's what it's like. I mean, it's you're in the middle of it's kind of a valley within the Andes. That's very cool. That's really neat. And actually, GIS is really a great application for this because people love maps. This isn't the first map we've seen with HoloLens. People love maps and the immersiveness of it. And that's great. And all the assets exist because of Google Maps and Bing Maps and 3D mapping and all the GIS activity that's been going on for so long. So you really have a lot of assets already to get going with. Wow, look at that.
I can also say, take me to another place.
Perhaps.
I'm going too fast. Sorry.
Yeah, and we should point out, people who are watching this at home, that this is not what the view that Joost is getting or anybody wearing a
Yeah,
HoloLens would
yeah, we're
get. This
getting
is
kind
a
of a
very
latency.
stuttery view because, believe it or not, we're Skyping the output of his camera
I
on
know.
your laptop,
Yeah.
Paul, all the
Well,
way from Harlem.
Yeah,
on
wirelessly
Holland.
through to
Right.
an app through Skype screen sharing. It's
In
kind
fact,
of
it's amazing that it works at all.
Yep.
Go somewhere else.
So these are some of the locations, and the other thing that's interesting is the interface is all hand-driven too. You don't use a mouse; you use your finger, you pinch, you
yep.
tap in the air.
Voice.
Yeah, voice.
I don't see Aussies in the audience looking with us, but this is Aeon Rock. Unfortunately,
It's just
So Paul's resetting the live stream periodically. That's a Skype issue, not a HoloLens issue.
Yeah.
yeah.
Can we go to the Egypt? Somebody wants to see where is this now? It looks like your house, Paul.
yeah. It's Area 51.
Yeah.
Wow, the internet is really slow.
Yeah.
Let's try one more. Select Vista. Select Vista.
I have the Vista book here. Would that help?
Not that pistol, yeah.
It's really dependent on a very good internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's still there.
So this is used application that he designed for Wortel called Walk the World.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it's something's emerging. We're seeing a map on the floor. It says map on the floor, literally. Now, is that a piece of paper on the floor, or is there an actual map? Wow.
There's actual litter on the floor. I don't know why.
Okay, that's litter. All right. And, you know, that's how realistic the HoloLens is. I don't know if it's litter or a 3D rendering of litter.
This is what I actually want to show.
Oh, this is interesting.
Where is it?
Australia.
Something rock
Ayers
in
Rock.
Australia.
It's Ayers Rock. Yeah.
Ayers Rock.
Right? Am I right? Yep.
Yep.
We
Yep.
have Australians in the studio today, so they're from Queensland, but they know what Ayers Rock looks like. Who doesn't?
Me.
I've actually always wanted to go see Ayers Rock.
So any other vistas you want to see on the list? Select vista.
It's not Ayers Rock? Okay, now we're being told it's not Ayers Rock by a guy who doesn't live in Australia. It's near Ayers Rock. Oh, the Aboriginal name is... what?
Uluru.
Yeah.
Uluru.
Guluru.
Uluru.
Thank you, John. John's the same guy who runs in here whenever I say
How
daylight
about Niagara
savings
Falls?
time and says, it's saving. Niagara Falls. Slowly I turned. So did the OK button.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Niagara Falls. So this is essentially a 3D aerial view.
You're right.
With a rainbow.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
So we get question marks.
Question.
That's funny.
It downloads few things that all happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brad's probably outside uploading a video.
Exactly.
So that was done. This actually uses just normal Bing maps,
Yeah.
map, combined with the Bing Aerial API.
Oops.
Nice. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah. Bing Maps with the Bing Aerial API.
Yeah. Yep. Nice. So yeah.
Are we making progress with HoloLens?
I know.
Because it doesn't feel like, I mean, with all due respect, these demos seem to be similar to the ones we've seen for the last few years. Is there anything? Is it all now third-party developers that are doing all the work, or is Microsoft making progress here too?
I'm not really sure if I understand the question. I think Windows Mixed Reality, as it's called today, is a platform where meant for developers to develop on, and that's exactly what we and I are doing.
So that's where the progress is happening, is what I'm saying, is with third-party developers.
It's you guys making
Yeah.
Are you getting regular updates to HoloLens, though? I mean, you must be, right?
What do you mean by regular updates?
Well, the capabilities of HoloLens, are they in any way changing?
We are still just discovering what you actually can do with HoloLens.
Right.
It's just basically the technical capabilities of the device are, I think, still the same, but it just takes a leap of imaginations to think what you can do with it, actually.
How about the APIs? Are those pretty well locked in place at this point, or?
Yeah, there is the API is there is an open source project that's called the Holo Toolkit. That's actually run by a couple of volunteers and Microsoft people. I have also like 4 pull requests on it, and that's just makes things like clicking on stuff and moving on stuff and talking to it makes it very easy. If you have to use the APIs themselves, the base APIs, that's more work. It's like a layer of an API on top of the base API.
Right.
Yep.
By the way,
stuff that you
thanks
just showed.
to Leon Zanman and Renee Lamotte in the audience who are posting pictures. So we get a kind of a picture of what it looked like on the other end, which we didn't have.
right.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, this is what we were missing. So compared to like Windows Mixed Reality, what with the stuff that you just showed or the stuff we saw before, how does that compare? Is this something you can do on Windows Mixed Reality, or is it completely different?
You mean like the immersive headsets coming?
Yeah.
I think the capabilities are for displaying stuff are basically the same.
Yeah.
What you will miss, of course, is I now saw the map flowing around this
Right.
actual
Right.
pillar here,
Right.
and yeah, that
It wouldn't know about the pillar.
it
basically.
will know about the pillar. At
Yeah.
least the current the two devices I know of won't, but a lot of the interaction would be the same. Actually, I have the first question I got from people like Richard Hay was like, "Hey, I'm going to get
Yeah.
how can we make this
Yeah.
work on this headset?" And for the most part, it just will. That's the beautiful part of Windows Mixed Reality. It's just a platform.
Nice.
It will work on multiple devices.
Okay, but it might be a little different based on the capabilities.
Yeah, the control may be a bit different, and well, I could walk all the way up to the other side of the room, and you obviously won't be able to do that with a device that's attached to a cable, unless, of course, you attach it to a Surface Pro and you can take it with
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Which would probably-
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops, I have to stand this, don't I?
You know, one of the things, of course, that comes up after Apple's announcement is that Apple is doing something interesting with the next generation iPad and iPhone and iOS, and with something called ARKit. And I'm wondering how, if Joost, if you've looked at ARKit and or how it might compare to the services provided. I mean, I guess Microsoft's doing essentially the same thing. The HoloLens is a hardware product, but it's a like ARKit. It's designed for third-party developers to do their own thing, right? I wonder how Apple's ARKit compares to HoloLens.
Well, first of all, I'm not really into Apple.
Yes.
Apparently not alone. Yeah.
Second, as far as I've seen of it,
I
it's not-
refuse to acknowledge them.
Yeah, well, if you read my Twitter, you could have read something about Apple recently. Anyway, what I've seen from ARKit is that you basically it's not real 3D in the sense that you look through your phone,
Right.
and you
Or an
see
iPad.
something like
Yeah.
3D projected, but it's not 3D, not immersive, not like this that you actually have the feeling I have to stop or I will bump into it.
Right.
That's a profound difference, I think.
is,
I mean,
yeah.
it's like the difference between Pokemon Go and real 3D.
Right.
Only with the other difference, of course, that ARKit can actually place it in reality. So if I make a hologram or whatever they call it, and I put it on the table, it will stick on the table. But if I'm still looking through a very small screen on it.
Yeah.
From a technical standpoint, I don't have any. I have not experimented with it, so I have nothing to say about it really.
Okay.
All right.
I just realized I can't do anything on my computer because I'm broadcasting to the audience.
Oh wow, a Surface laptop.
I have one too. Very happy with it, by the way. I got the red.
Yeah, I know. I've seen pictures of them, but I never saw them for real.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Yeah.
for sale here.
I've named my Surface laptop Alcantara. And,
Really?
But I like the. It's. I mean, I don't know how this is going to wear. I mean, as soon as I have a bacon sandwich, I think it's going to start. But
You should stop eating soup behind.
I think so.
Read.
But it's actually it feels kind of neat to have this kind of fabric-y.
Don't touch it.
Sorry.
Hey, isn't this my Surface?
Oh yeah, sorry. Is it?
Which one did you get, Mary Jo? Did you get red too?
Yep.
I think it's pretty.
I'm just kidding. You can catch it. I know.
I know. You know, I've been listening to you. I know you are.
You want to touch it? I know you do.
Joost, at any time you wish, you could just say, "Not so fast, Eeyore," and he'll
Yeah, I remember now. I forgot something. I was thinking of bringing a gong actually.
Oh, he does watch the show.
I didn't bring mine.
No, I know.
You're safe, Paul.
Fine. I'm not going to display the screen anymore. Screw you guys.
So,
But I think if you, Leo, if you have like access to the HoloLens or something.
I don't,
please have-
unfortunately. I've never.
It's actually,
Yeah.
it really looks awesome. I mean, every time it's 1.5 years ago since I wore the HoloLens for the first time in Redmond, and every time I turn it on, and I even if I see my own apps, I'm like, this is unbelievable. I mean, I grew up with the holodeck as a kid, and it was like,
Right.
this is just happening before my eyes, and I can just manipulate. I can do it myself. It's not that hard, I think. Yes, I am. And my wife agreed that I bought a HoloLens.
Nice.
I take very good care of keeping the wife happy. Wives like that are hard to find.
Seriously.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
sorry,
you for
sorry
doing
for
all
the
this. I know. All the
technical
back and
issues.
forth and
We
trouble.
are.
This is what happens when you leave it to me.
If you think it's also if you think what we're trying to do here,
I know. It's amazing what we're doing.
it's amazing we
Even-
can do this.
It is.
Joost van Schaik is a lead HoloLens developer at Wortel, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name. And thank you very much for the GIS demo of the HoloLens. I think that is one issue, Paul, is we got to get the HoloLens in people's hands, not just developers, but customers, so they get a sense of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Windows Mixed Reality is going to be the first push there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They'll cost $300 and people will start getting them, and then they'll be like, "Oh, this is what they were talking about."
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
right.
actually, look
Yeah.
at that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's take a break. You guys can reset, and we'll continue on.
Okay.
Windows Weekly, Paul Thurrott from Thurrott.com, Mary Jo Foley from ZDNet.com, allaboutmicrosoft.com, are in Haarlem, Amsterdam, at the Office 365 Engage show. And we have lots more to talk about, including that Surface laptop, since now we all have one to touch. Al Alcantara.
Except for used.
Except for poor used, who can't touch that. Our show today brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. I got to tell you, there's something coming for geeks that is awesome. If you've ever applied for a home loan in the past or done a refi, you know what a pain in the butt. I don't know what it's like in Australia, but there's a lot of paperwork in the U.S. Last time we bought a house 3 years ago, they kept wanting more and more and more. They kept coming back. Oh, well, what about that? And we're going through boxes of, I don't have that. What? It was crazy. So the next time I'm buying a house or refinancing, I'm going to Quicken Loans. Quicken Loans is the founder or creators of Rocket Mortgage. They're the best loan company in the country. All you have to do is look at all those J.D. Power customer satisfaction awards year after year. But they created Rocket Mortgage for us geeks, a fast, easy, completely online mortgage technology. The mortgage experience just wasn't keeping up. And Quicken Loans said, we need a client-focused technological revolution. That's why they created Rocket Mortgage. You can do everything you need to do on the app. And the app is, by the way, iPhone, Android phone, PC, tablet. It's web-based, so it works everywhere. You can do it on your phone. You could do it at an open house. You press they have made partnerships with all the financial institutions, so you don't have to go through boxes of paper. You submit whatever they need, pay stubs or check statements, just like, oh yeah, here's my bank, and it just happens. And the thing is, because it's all computerized like this, there's no human interface. There's nobody sitting there going. I remember my loan officer had a clipboard 3 inches thick with loan rates and loans. And he's flipping through these things. No, we got computers now. So the whole process takes not months, as in my case, or even weeks or days, but minutes. Get approved for a loan that's just right for you, whether you're looking to buy your first or your 10th house. They can do thousands of calculations in seconds and provide you, based on your income, your assets, and your credit, with just the right home loan for you. And of course, you can choose the term and the length and all of that stuff. The interest rate. Rocket Mortgage. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. RocketMortgage.com/Windows. RocketMortgage.com/Windows from Quicken Loans. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030. We thank Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans for their support of Windows Weekly. And don't forget, you may not buy a house today, but just keep in mind, when you do, RocketMortgage.com/Windows. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley, we've adjusted the buttons, we've pressed the dials, and for some reason we have my chat room in the middle of the screen there. But we'll fix that. Oh, I have to.
Leo, we were just discussing whether Haarlem was a suburb of Amsterdam, and I'm told emphatically it is not.
Not.
Well, they don't want it to be.
No.
That's for sure. Yeah.
They were very clear about that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Look, it worked. Pressed a button and it worked.
Yay.
So you're having fun though in this suburb of Amsterdam?
Yes. We
You're
are.
an
They're mad.
instigator.
I hear them. They're angry.
There's some anger.
There's some anger. No, we won't call it a suburb of Amsterdam.
It is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, it must be because you were here. You were there last year, and you've come back.
Yep. Yep.
That's
If
a
life
good
goes
sign.
accordingly, I'll be there again later this year.
And the beer is good.
The
Yep.
beer is good. The
Yeah.
weather has been amazing because they're in a heat wave here.
Uh-oh.
It's been so
Although
sunny.
between you and me, I did disparage SharePoint somewhat earlier today.
He did.
My future invite is a little more tenuous.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you may not be back.
Tell us what you're there for. The Office 365 Engage show. What's that?
That's it.
Everything
No, so
you want to know about
Yes.
Office 365.
Nice.
Lots
Nice.
of really good sessions.
Yep.
Paul, did you get a Surface laptop, or was it just Mary Jo?
No, Mary Jo got it.
Okay, but you decided not to waste your time.
Well, she was nice enough to drop it off at my room and
Play with it. So you played with it.
fell off the back of a truck kind of thing.
So I got mine yesterday when I got back from vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary Jo, you're probably comparing it with your HP Spectre 13T,
I am,
which
which
is,
I should not.
yeah, it's
Oh.
the Spectre's thinner, the HP's thinner, lighter a little bit, but this has a
lappable.
more lappable. Okay, this has a
I don't
touch
know.
screen, which
Yep.
have we won you over yet, Mary Jo, on the touch screen thing? Or are you still no?
Totally not. In fact, when I got this, I didn't touch it once, and that was fine.
Touch it. Touch it.
No.
There's some things
This
missing.
is why
and
we don't do shows together.
this feels like it would be maybe a less expensive laptop, but it's not. I think the base model was $1,300. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
The
Yes.
base model's cheaper than that.
Is it?
It's $12.99.99.
Well, okay. I'm
something.
calling this the base model because it's not the base
No, I thought-
model, but
No, this is not the base model.
Yeah,
You're
this
right.
is the one you
i5.
want. Yeah, the i5,
Right.
not
Right.
an i3.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is the one that
256.
comes in colors. It's clearly the one Microsoft thinks people are going to buy.
Yep.
Right.
So, but there's some odd things. For instance, no fingerprint reader. At a laptop at that price, you'd expect perhaps that.
Well, it has Windows Hello in the camera.
It
It does
does.
have Hello, which works quite well,
I prefer the fingerprint too, but yeah.
or the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It is still using Microsoft's Surface connector, which I guess makes sense. It's an ecosystem, but both Paul and I feel like we should have Type C. How are you on that, Mary Jo? Do you care?
I don't really care.
Yeah,
No.
I figured not.
Mary Jo's ambivalence about various aspects of this laptop.
You know what? I said this on the show last week. I am the person who this laptop should have been built for, right?
Notepad enthusiast.
Right. I can live with Windows 10s. It's a laptop. I thought I would be the perfect audience for this. And instead, what happened was I found out that I'm actually okay with Windows 10s and also Edge, which I had not really used. But the hardware, I was like, the hardware's.
I think the machine is beautiful.
It's
and
pretty.
I think Windows 10s is, what's the word I'm looking for?
Crap.
Yeah.
What's the S stand for, Paul? Yeah.
No,
Oh.
I set him up on that one. I'm sorry. That was my mistake.
I don't know.
It's interesting. So Mary Jo likes the software, but not the hardware. You like the hardware, not the software.
It seems like there should be a peanut butter cup somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, and I'm not a big fan on the Alcantara keyboard.
I'm okay with it.
He likes it.
10S is interesting because it doesn't feel. It really is Windows 10.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
Windows 10 Pro,
Pro.
actually.
Yeah. and it's got
I learned that the
5.
Windows 32 subsystem is still there, which, in my opinion, is really one of the big security issues on Windows, and I know is being slowly deprecated. So really, it's as if you got Windows 10 Pro, but you could only install stuff from the App Store, from the. Windows
it's
Store.
a brilliant innovation that Microsoft made a version of Windows that doesn't run Windows applications. But
It runs Notepad, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it runs the stuff that comes on it. I mean, I think most people who get this thing today are going to upgrade to Pro right away and not worry about it.
By the way,
Right, and
that's
the good
free
part is
through December.
Free,
You can,
Right, yes. So
But
if you get it now, you can.
But then why buy this almost? Because unless you
Right.
really like
Well, because-
Alcantara.
Yeah, I mean, because you like the style of this particular device. I mean, I think there's a bunch of people who looked at Surface Book and thought, yeah, it's really interesting, but it's super expensive. Maybe the Surface Pro is really interesting, but it's a little too tablety, a little too small, whatever it is.
This is somewhat of a generic Ultrabook, really.
It is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call it an Ultrabook, would you?
Well, it's a wedge shape.
Well, they call it a laptop, but it's in that territory.
It's roughly in that territory. The speakers are weird. They come through the Alcantara, but they sound pretty good.
They do.
Yep.
I'm not disappointed with that. I'm disappointed with the lack of ports. It only has one USB port and a mini display port and a headphone jack.
Even look, okay, you're going to stick with USB 3, fine. Put 2 of them on there. I mean, 2.
Yeah.
Even a MacBook Air has 2 USB ports.
Yeah, it's a little strange. So,
yeah.
But I think it competes roughly with a MacBook Air, sort of.
Yep.
$999 is the base price, but for that you get an i3 and 128 gigs of storage, that kind
And
of
4 gigs of RAM, which is the
4
big
gigs
problem.
of RAM, yeah. So everybody's going to spend the extra $300, probably get an i5, a 256 gig hard drive, and 8 gigs of RAM.
Yep.
So just, you know what, I get the feeling it's just kind of a lukewarm reaction to this laptop.
You liked it more than me.
If you talked about this last week, I apologize.
No, we wanted to talk about it again because last week I had it, but Paul hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So he said, bring it with you.
We have never disagreed on something as strongly as we
That's
disagree on
really
I agree.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally if you could pick out any feature and say, "What do you think?" And we were literally.
I know. I'm
on
like,
the
yeah,
opposite
that's
end.
all right. Paul's like, that's
No,
the
that's
best part.
the best thing I've ever seen in my life. No, I mean,
The keyboard's good.
yes.
It's adequate.
Wow.
It's better. No. It's better than the HP
okay,
keyboard, Mary Jo.
okay.
It is better
Oh,
than
No, this
Really?
keyboard is.
I don't
among-
like this keyboard.
Okay.
No, you know what? I don't like the Surface keyboards.
Interesting.
I don't. Why don't you like nice things, Mary Jo?
No, I like nice things. This.
It is a really big glass trackpad, beautiful, perfect keyboard.
So
You know what's
the
interesting
space-
about the keyboard is it strikes me as being really the Surface Pro keyboard, right? I mean,
It is,
or the Surface Book keyboard.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
which I
if-
never really cared for.
Killed me.
particularly because of the Alcantara, which is,
Yeah.
you know,
There's a couple of minor keyboard changes, but it's basically the same keyboard.
Yeah.
it looks the same. Well, that's
Yeah.
You know, it has
Yep,
an
yep.
on-off switch, which the obviously
It's
Surface
nicely
Pro doesn't.
color matched with the material, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I think the red one is very pretty. They have other colors, and if you buy other
Backlighting.
configurations, you'll get your choice of silver.
So here's an interesting example of where we differ on this one. One of the things she actually complained about was the size of the decking around the trackpad. In other
Yeah.
words, the wrist rest area.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, granted, a Gorilla, perfect. Right. And I think the one on the Surface Pro, which I otherwise like, is actually a little small. So I see this thing and I think this is just like Surface Book. It's perfect.
I know. So I said to Paul, when I put my wrist on it, like half my forearm is on the keypad thing, and it's hot, it's scratchy, it's Alcantara. And he's like, wow, what's wrong
I'm
with
like,
you?
seriously, it's the most awesome thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah, I, you know what? And the week I had this, it was a heat wave in New York, and I felt like I was always sweating onto the Alcantara, and I was always like wiping my wrist before I put them on the keyboard. I'm like, come on,
That's pretty funny.
it's not the laptop for me, but it might be the laptop for you.
Yeah. I think the design is beautiful. I think it's
You loved it. I know. You were like, what?
yeah. I don't,
Yeah.
Well, that's a very subjective.
It is.
Yeah, sure. No, look, the colors are not for everyone. Alcantara is possibly not for everyone. At least not the
Probably not.
abnormal
It
people.
was Alcantara is a controversial, going to be at least a controversial choice. I've never seen a furry
It is.
keyboard
Yeah.
before.
And this
so-
is something we're not going to see the story on this until 6, 9,
Right.
12 months down the road, right? Because
Well-
right now it's fine.
it's not the first time Alcantara has been used, and
Well,
BKK
does it wear out like a
Canuck.
pool table, or how does it work?
The Alcantara is used in headliners for cars, and one of our chatters, BKK Canuck, gave us a YouTube video
Right.
of a guy talking about the good and the ugly of Alcantara. I mean,
But this guy is a known Alcantara hater, so I think we can
is he really? Is there such a thing?
just dispense.
He
I'm
says
it,
it's
so I
grippy,
maybe
which is
I'll-
nice, but he says it's not a premium product. I'm more, I think, as you are, And by the way, I'm not going to take any real reviews from a guy who's wearing a T-shirt that says it burns when I pee.
Yes.
But
Sure. He's using the Alcantara wrong.
yeah, but I think really the issue is, and that I'd be worried about is how does it wear? And he's saying it doesn't wear well. The problem is a car headliner, you're not touching it all the time, you're not spilling stuff on it, so it's fine for that. But I don't have any experience, and I did have an Alcantara headliner.
So we don't know the story on this, but Microsoft has heavily treated this chemical and other chemicals. And I'm sure the theory here is that will help protect it over time. This wasn't the case with yours, I don't think, but when I got the Surface Pro, which also has that Alcantara keyboard thing, the smell that came out of this box was so strong it was almost like being overwhelmed by chemicals.
Yeah, this one wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. Yeah, it was very strange.
No, I don't smell anything at all. Yeah. I should point out that we call it the keyboard, but really the keys are in fact not covered with fur, just everything but the keys. So, and the trackpad and the keys are uncovered.
I know.
Yeah.
It kind of is like the feel to me of a pool table. Like, it's not like people were like, oh, is it fuzzy? No, it's not really fuzzy.
It's not fuzzy.
It's a very short nap.
Yeah.
Which is never a good thing. It's and Paul knows that. It's there is one fit and finish issue.
Wait, Leo, what was that?
Very short nap.
Napping.
There is an issue with fit and finish on the edge, though. When you close the laptop, it's rough.
Yes.
Because it's almost as if the Alcantara is a little bit exceeding the edge of the metal.
Yeah, it looks like it wasn't cut properly.
I think it's.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but that's a little odd. It doesn't. It's not the. It's not a deal breaker for me. But
did you notice it? Did you notice that?
No.
It's,
did I? No.
Yeah, if you hold it, it's actually rough right there.
And Now you'll notice it.
Yeah. Now you'll never not notice it. That's the worst.
Well, the other thing is, I've had this about 2 weeks now, and I'm pretty careful with my laptops. And as soon as I handed it to Paul, he goes, "Look how dinged up this is."
Yeah, that's true.
So there are scratches already in it, and when it's scratched, you see the underneath.
Yeah, it's anodized
silver.
So remember when the original
scratches off?
Surface,
that's not good.
Yeah.
The first two generations of Surface devices were black.
Right.
But they were actually painted black, essentially. Yeah. So the color on this device is basically done the same way.
That's not good.
With Surface Pro 3, they moved to the natural color of the magnesium, which is gray. But what that means is if you scratch it, it remains gray because there's no other color underneath. But with this particular device, if you scratch it, what you see is a silver that's underneath because I think it's actually made of aluminum. Yeah. Not
I think so.
Magnesium. Yeah, that was a little alarming.
I should have put it in a sleeve, I guess.
Granted, she's horrible with her stuff, right? I think we can all agree to that. Treats them poorly. No, but she's not.
I'm not.
there's no excuse for this. I mean, this thing's brand new and it's got two huge things in it.
Well, I think you made one of them.
Yes. Okay. So
I do.
Oh, that isn't good, actually. Yeah.
No. But going back to Windows 10 S.
Yep.
For most people who listen, I would say 99% of the people who listen to this show, this is not the operating system for you. But for people who are like me, productivity workers who don't have a lot of legacy apps, it is the operating system for you.
There are people like that.
You know, that's what I'm. There are.
Well, you can run a full Office on it, right?
You can run the Office Centennial apps on Windows 10s, which are in the
first
store.
Office. Okay, but it looks just like Word.
No, it's the full Office.
It's the full
Centennial
132 Office ported over using the desktop bridge.
It's in preview. It's only the consumer version. There's a bunch of caveats.
There's a lot of caveats, but that's going to be in there, right?
Yep.
So I think there are people who want that, but do they want to pay $1,300 for a laptop?
Sure.
That's what I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, the thing I knew about this ahead of time, the thing I knew about Windows 10s was that people were going to see it as a Chromebook competitor, but that Microsoft wanted to have a premium device in the market too to show that, this would be for executives or for those people, like you said, who supposedly exist that I don't know there's an audience
executives.
For. Well, but I guess the way I would put it is if you have a system that's capable of running Windows desktop applications, it doesn't harm you.
Right.
That is there. I mean, technically, I suppose there's some security concerns there, but it's sort of like touch on a screen. Okay, you're not going to use it, but it doesn't hurt you.
No.
That
Well,
is
it
there.
does a little bit.
Okay.
Battery life, a little, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
I tell you, I don't mind using Edge. I know that a lot of people will say, "Oh, I have to have Chrome," and that would be a deal breaker. Edge because now I can run LastPass and other plugins that I like. I'm happy with Edge.
I find it to be slow.
You do.
And
Really?
I find it to be slow
It's supposed to be
in
faster, isn't it?
Faster than what, Leo? Performance is kind of a tough area because it's the little drip,
Yeah.
the water torture thing.
Yeah.
If you right click on, you select some text maybe in a web page and you right click on it, and that kind of millisecond or second that it takes for that slow, weird, unique menu to pop up, and then you click copy to the clipboard. Then you go to some other app to paste it. And it doesn't paste it because it's Windows 10, and that never works the first time for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just kind of a slow annoyance thing that kind of builds over time where it just I just find it to be irritating.
And there will be other desktop apps that some people will miss. I don't really like the two mail offerings. You can use web, of course, but the built-in mail, Windows 10 mail, and Outlook, I just really don't like.
Yeah.
So that for me is a little bit of a deal breaker.
Yeah, and Mary Jo uses that app. I know Brad does, but there's a weird thing with the UWP apps that are built into Windows 10 in particular, and probably other apps as well, where they use the system scaling. And so the idea is that this thing is scalable. If you scale the UI to 225 or to 250, the app will scale with it, and that's a neat feature. It's great that works, but what they don't offer, at least the Microsoft apps, is the ability to arbitrarily change the font zooming within the context of an app. In other words, you can zoom the text, but it will extend past the app area. What you want to do is zoom it within the app area. And they just don't do that. And they're relying on that system scaling instead of having their own as well. And, that's a little bit like that performance issue in Edge, where you can use it for a little while and then you realize, you get certain emails, you just can't read them because the text is so small.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think anything else. The power button is now on the keyboard instead of
next to the left of the delete key, where you might.
You know what? I haven't hit it yet. I have not.
Yeah,
Well,
it doesn't actually power it down. It
logs you out, though. That's kind of annoying.
But you know what? I think the reason they did it was because of all those hot bag issues and people accidentally hitting the power and turning people's laptops on, right?
So on a 2-in-1 type device like this Surface Pro, or on Surface Book as well, which is a 2-in-1 device, you have to put the power and also the volume on the outside that outside edge.
Right.
You have to, because it can be used as a tablet. With a laptop like this, you don't have to do that.
Right.
So this is kind of the first time on a portable Surface they've kind of had to contend with that issue. Yeah,
true.
Because I don't think a laptop buyer would look for the
thing on the side.
Power on the side. Plus, it's pretty thin.
I do think some of this is going to depend on, for instance, the mail issue on getting apps in the App Store.
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to say you can only install apps from the App Store, well, you got to have a pretty rich and varied offering in there.
Yeah, and Windows will improve too, right? So the fall Creators Update will come. Edge will get better yet again in that update. I believe it will finally support progressive web apps, which means you can already, we know through the insider builds, you can pin web apps to the taskbar now for the first time in Microsoft Edge. That was a feature that was missing before. Yeah. So, these things happen. They're on their own schedule. I mean, Office is not quite ready, so it's available in preview form because this thing is there. Obviously, the next version of Windows will make it better. The arrival of various apps in the store will make it better. So the story is going to change over time. I mean, I just think today, June 2017, Windows 10s in particular, it's just not ready for most people. 6 months from now, that might be a different story. A year from now, it might be a different story.
I do have to say, though, if I'm kind of with Mary Jo on this, if I wouldn't probably use this with Windows 10 Pro either.
You wouldn't?
No. I can live with it seeing it as a Windows 10s laptop, but if I'm going to put Windows Pro, I mean, admittedly twice as much, but the Yoga, my Lenovo Yoga, is a great Windows machine. I mean, I traveled with it the last 2 weeks, and it was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, it's hard, right? I sort of see that. I mean, by the way, I compared this today to the new Surface Pro, and I actually think the new Surface Pro is more versatile and probably is a better product for a lot of people too than the Surface laptop. There are
Same
some
price?
goofy.
It's the same.
Yeah.
roughly?
Yeah.
And it is. So, for example, if you spilled something on your Alcantara keyboard in the Surface laptop and couldn't clean it up, you're kind of stuck with it. It's built into the machine. If you do that on the Surface Pro, you can replace the keyboard cover if you want to. This thing doesn't have a lay flat screen. It's compatible with the pen, but who would ever use a pen with this kind of thing?
No.
There's a lot of little things like that. But I think it's it's a 1.0 kind of thing, and I think really honestly, the market for this device isn't really some undefined sub-market of people who want Windows 10s. I really think it's just people who wanted a real laptop from Microsoft. The Surface Book was too expensive, a little too weird, maybe. This is the laptop that people are asking for, and it's a little on the 1.0 side for sure.
I think in this price range, somebody in the chat room said the Dell XPS 13 probably a better choice. If you're willing to spend more, there are some great high-end things. What about the low end? None of us use $400, $500 Windows machines.
Right.
Are there good choices out there, though? That's where I would say Windows 10s. That's where it's going to compete with a Chromebook if you can get it down.
Yeah.
Under
So
500.
the other Windows 10s machines that are available today are education laptops that are typically 11 inches and they're pretty terrible.
Yeah.
They're not something anyone would want to use.
Right.
Any normal person. The sweet spot of the market today is kind of around $1,000 or $1,100, and you're right. There are lots of options there that, including ones that are more versatile, like an HP Spectre X360, the Dell XPS 13, like you were talking about, which is available in kind of a 2-in-1 form factor. The various ThinkPads, X1 Yoga, et cetera, et cetera. But again, Microsoft is not trying to blow those guys out of the water. They want to leave room for them to be able to sell their stuff too, right? So these things are premium priced, and I mean, look, whether we agree with it or not, what they've done this time is we have colors and we have this Alcantara keyboard cover, and that's kind of the differentiator.
I guess. So I'm kind of somewhere in between you and Mary Jo.
Yeah.
On the one hand, Windows 10s doesn't bother me, given what you're going to get, and for many people, I think that's good. The trade-off is better security, right? You are getting better security. I mean, I'm not. If you weren't getting something in return, then it'd make no sense. But if you're saying it's going to be more secure, more robust, better battery life, more reliable, okay. This is I would say uninspiring hardware. It's not bad, it's uninspiring.
Agree.
And there's some missing stuff.
You both have something broken inside of you. So no, the thing I would, as far as security goes and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I guess what I would say is I don't actually have security problems in Windows 10. So this notion that Windows 10s is somehow more secure is kind of an arbitrary
I guess just because you only can get store apps.
No, I understand
right?
why. I'm just saying I don't have a problem with it. So
you don't, but normal people,
okay.
Normals.
But I think the reality of Windows today is that you will run into a thing that you can't get that you will need on Windows 10s. I think that's just a fact for a lot of people. And so we use it for a week or whatever, and it's like it's okay for this, it's okay for that. But eventually you're going to run into that one thing. And this is the thing that dooms ecosystems. If there's that one thing you need that you can't get, then you can't use that thing. And so I credit Microsoft for giving people an option today. They can get Windows 10 Pro for free. And even when it's not free, it's not going to be expensive. And so, you're spending $1,300 on a laptop, like you said. So if you have to spend $1,350, what's the difference? $50 is the difference. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like more and more the people who are going to be buying computers like this are going to be looking at more at the high end, because what's really starting to happen, and you're looking at what Apple's starting to do with iOS now on the iPad, is that low end is going to get eaten up, I think, by iPad, maybe by Chromebook. If you're buying a Windows machine, I think you're buying a machine because you're a I hate to use the word pro, but a pro user. You're a more serious user who wants that flexibility, wants that power, and is probably sophisticated enough to look at all the different models and say, and not the kind of person who's going to say, well, I can give up extra USB ports as long as I have Alcantara. So I just feel like I don't know what the market for this is.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's pretty. But
I give
even
them credit
you,
for going
Paul, who
after
like the
stuff.
hardware, say it's dinged.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's true. It's true.
I
mean, I would have taken better care of it than Mary Jo, but I see what you're saying.
You'd at least have it in the sleeve. I
don't know why you didn't love it.
I'm so much happier with the Lenovo Yoga, and I did kind of a head-to-head comparison. And this isn't bad. I mean, I could use it. It's just it's not great.
Not quite. Yeah. Well, I don't know what the gestation was on this thing, but clearly with the MacBook Pro, for example, there's a little bit of an opening here for Windows where a lot of people are unhappy with what's going on over there. And when you think about it, the type of people who might be attracted to the style or whatever of this thing might be people who style themselves as pros, but aren't necessarily pros, but we're spending big money on Apple hardware. And so we'll see. I mean, I guess, remember before this thing actually shipped, I was saying that I believe this would probably be the volume Surface product going forward.
Do you still think that?
I'm not sure.
So somebody in the chat room is saying, can I put 10S, can I download 10S and use it in a virtual machine? No, 10S is not available except with hardware. But you could simulate 10S just fine. It's Windows Pro. Just pledge, I will never download anything that's not from the Windows Store.
Leo, you can do better than that. There's actually a setting in settings where it will prevent you from downloading apps in the store.
That makes it 10S, right?
Except for apps in the store.
There are a couple little changes besides that. Like Bash is not on it, as you noticed.
Yeah.
Well, you have to install Bash, though. You have to put it in developer mode and install it. So, again,
I don't think you can.
No, you can't.
No, I'm saying on a Windows 10 Pro machine. So if you don't do things like that, if you don't intentionally turn features on like that, you've got a Windows 10S machine.
Even CMD.exe doesn't run on Windows 10S.
No PowerShell? Is there no command line at all?
Nope.
Oh.
Yep.
How am I going to edit my AutoExec.bat?
Minecraft runs, though.
What? No, it doesn't. Personal Edition runs. The UWP Edition runs, but true Minecrafters.
True. Leo, while you were gone, there was some big Minecraft news. But
really? What was the big Minecraft news?
Yeah.
So they're bringing together the three major versions of Minecraft, right? Desktop, console, and mobile Pocket or whatever. And they're going to be cross-compatible.
Nobody tells me anything. That's great news. That's very exciting.
Yeah. It's big news.
You'd have thought everybody in Peru would be talking about that, but I guess not.
I mean, I guess you didn't listen to the show while you were gone.
No, I didn't. I apologize. I didn't have internet.
It's weird. I don't know why you wouldn't.
I barely had internet. Now, somebody in the chat room is saying, well, Windows 10S is just rebranded at RT. That's not that either at all.
No.
It's Windows Pro.
Yeah.
Just turn that switch on that says don't install stuff from the store.
You can go to Pro. The big thing with RT was that it was kind of a hard stop. So if you got RT and it wasn't what you wanted, there was no upgrade path. With Windows 10S, you can upgrade to like full Windows 10 if you want it.
That'll cost you $50 after December.
Yep.
Unless you're an education user, is that right?
I saw that somewhere, but I didn't actually verify
pretty sure that is true. Yep.
Apparently, if you're an education customer, you can get it for free forever.
Yep.
I have to say, if you're in the market and you're going to spend this kind of money, you should look at the Surface Pro. Absolutely.
Surface Pro.
Yeah, the tablet.
Yep.
I just don't know who this laptop's for.
Yeah. Well, I made the same conclusion, by the way.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of in between you. I'm not Paul.
Yeah.
I'm not Paul happy about the hardware, and I'm not thinking Windows 10S is what everybody would. I think if you're using Windows, you should probably be just using Windows. And
I think so too.
Microsoft is making it easier for you to go to Surface if you're a Macintosh user.
Yes, that's right. I guess there's some kind of a trade-in thing. I actually haven't looked into this too far.
Oh, is there?
Mac Surface to Assistant.
Surface. Oh, you're talking about the software. Yeah. There's also a sale. If you go to a Microsoft store, you can trade in a MacBook between now and I think at the end of June and get some amount of money off based on the value of the product.
And you can run this software that'll just suck all your data over.
Yep.
Now, that's not available yet. That was a leak through Walking Cat. Right?
Oh, I thought that was available. I'm pretty sure that is available. You mean the transfer tool?
Yeah.
I thought it
Well,
was.
I'm looking at your article, but this is from March. There's my mistake. In March, it was.
Don't listen to that guy, Leo.
I read that in March. This came with Windows 10 Creators Update 1703 on it.
Yep.
I think everything I have is now updated. Is that the case? Is everybody?
Yep.
So even HP users are getting 1703?
Oh, not HP users.
I am.
Oh, not you guys.
No, I have gotten notice that I'm going to get it
Oh, you did.
Mm-hmm.
You should install it now.
on the show. Yeah. Let's see how that goes.
Sure. Yeah, no, my HP devices are all up to date. I can't speak for the
You have to
entire
force
body,
it.
but
You have to force it. But it works.
Yeah, you get a notice saying, acknowledge your privacy settings, and then when do you want to schedule this? So I scheduled it, but it never happened.
are you sure?
I'm not positive. How will I know?
Oh, well.
I guess I could look it up.
Winver.
Well, I'm not on it.
We'll see if Mary Jo
That's
secretly
weird that they
updated
would say,
Creators Update.
hey, it's coming. You're going to get it.
Nope.
I guess that's to reassure
I'm not.
you.
She's still
I'm
in the
not.
old version.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. There are so many notepad
embarrassing.
improvements in the Creators Update.
So many notepad colors, new fonts. Yeah.
All right. I'm not kidding. I've lost our notes. They're not coming in for me.
All right, let me
You
forge
tell
ahead.
me what's next.
Yeah.
So, as far as popularity goes, most models of Surface Laptop are in fact on back order or unavailable.
Wow.
It's unclear why
Yeah.
there would be different names for these things, but apparently, depending on which one you want, you can either back order it or not order it at all. So it's selling pretty well, based on the 17 or 18 they made or whatever. I know from the reviewer's perspective, they're actually really hard to get, right? So
Yeah.
only a few people got them in the initial round, and I was not one of those people. So that explains my terrible review.
What are the reviews basically negative on this?
Most of them were negative about the Alcantara and
Yeah.
the Windows 10s.
Yeah, the guy from the Wall Street Journal actually rubbed Cheetos into it.
He
and
did.
Found out that
I
they would
wanted
not.
to do that. I really did,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
just I couldn't bring myself to do it. So what
No,
happened?
of course not. The Cheetos stayed inside the Alcantara,
Yeah.
so there is that issue.
Even like if he used a wire brush or like a horse
No,
currying
it's-
comb or no.
There's going to be an aftermarket for products that will be used to
Yeah.
clean this, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the big issue along those lines was iFixit looked at Surface Laptop, and they actually rated it 0 out of 10
Repairability.
because it is literally not repairable in any way, shape,
Yeah.
or form. So to get
that's
to get inside the computer, you have to rip off the Alcantara cover, which ruins it. You can't put it back. and then once you get inside, you can't actually repair or replace anything.
Everything's glued together,
Yeah,
right?
it's like some kind of
Yeah.
a hot mess. So that's actually kind of disappointing, obviously.
Yeah.
Wow. That's the trend, though, isn't it, in electronics these days?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was Ewan Spence or someone had written something where they said, this is an interesting example of Microsoft kind of following Apple down this rabbit hole, which is unfortunate because they do the same thing. Yeah.
I like it that iFixit calls the Alcantara a pelt.
Yeah.
Now I am looking at it in a new light. Yeah. So how does Microsoft fix it? They must have an Alcantara removal tool.
Well, right, that's the
Or
open
an
question.
ART.
I'm not either
Art.
that or they're literally just
Throwing them away.
replacing it. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that could be.
This makes me sad.
I know. Yeah, it was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm on the Lenovo Reddit group, and
Yeah.
what everybody talks about is, well, then I replaced the screen. I took the keyboard out. I took out the.
Yeah.
It's completely modular. These older,
Sure.
the T240 and so forth, and that keeps these things going, right? I mean, these are some cases 10 years old ThinkPads.
Mm-hmm.
But people are keeping them going by upgrading, by modularizing
Yep.
them, keeping them out of the landfill. This is just landfill bait.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Well, you need to have a reason to buy Surface Laptop 2,
Yeah.
and one of those reasons might be Cheetos.
Cheetos. Yeah.
Yeah, but I so I got the Surface Pro, and I reviewed that instead, and it's actually pretty awesome. I mean, I have to say, I was a little surprised Microsoft didn't promote this more heavily and maybe even call it Surface Pro 5. There was this feeling that this was kind of a lukewarm upgrade. But actually, there were a couple of things about this that are pretty dramatic compared to Surface Pro 4. The big one, for anyone who's used any Surface device, is that it doesn't make any sound at all. Previous Surface devices, actually Surface Laptop.
This doesn't either, right?
No, Surface Laptop doesn't
Nope.
either. So they finally figured this out, and I think the way they did it is they ratcheted down the processor a little bit or whatever, but it is almost perfectly silent. And I have the i7 version. I mean, you can, if I put my ear up to it, up to the the side of it, I could actually hear a little bit. But I've had Surface devices come on arbitrarily, like I'm watching TV and it's over on a desk off, and I hear this hissing sound, and you pause the TV, and what is that? And it's the Surface just heating up
for some
closed,
reason.
And so this device has been kind of a miracle along those lines. And I got to say, if you're a Surface Pro user of any kind, that's reason enough to consider this upgrade. But it's got a lot of little things as well, and it's a kind of a solid upgrade. I also tested the Surface Pen, and compared it to the Apple Pencil. Right, so you may recall when Microsoft announced this device, they declared that it was the fastest digital pen on Earth, and then days later, Apple announced an upgrade to the iPad Pro that made that pen faster with that new hardware. And it's interesting because in both cases, they're doing this combination of, in Microsoft's case, a new pen, but also unique hardware that's only in the new Surface Pro. That hardware accelerates pen. On the iPad, it's the same pencil as before, but the performance was already excellent. But there's unique hardware in the iPad Pro that hardware accelerates the pen and reduces the latency.
Well, they're doing 120 hertz refresh rate
on the screen
as soon as you
exactly,
touch the pen to it, which smooths it out a lot. So it's interesting because it's actually the iPad improving the performance of the same pencil,
which is the same thing on the Surface side, actually. Yeah. So, in my testing, I don't see any difference between these things at all as far as the performance.
Oh, interesting. And you, we should say, people may not know, you're a graphic artist by training.
Well, I used. That was a long time ago.
Why are people laughing? They're laughing.
They don't believe it. They didn't see the Eeyore picture. They didn't see it.
I'm not an artist. I used to be, but
well, I'm just saying you have a little standing to review a pen.
I have a little standing, yeah. But the big thing to me is, look, anyone with hands and eyes can see, press pen to screen and see how fast it is. I mean, anyone could do that.
And as we've pointed out in the past, video does not do it justice. You have to try it.
Right. And you see that on Apple's videos too. There's something about the recording of that just adds lag to the process. It makes it look slower than it is.
It's the frame sync is what it is.
Yeah.
So
the one thing I'll got to give Microsoft a little bit of credit. The tip of the pen as you press it to the glass is very soft and natural, and it's really nice. The Apple Pencil, when you tap it to the glass, actually you get that kind of hard glass wax sound and feel. It's a very hard tap. Yeah.
They were going to offer nibs. Remember, they were going to offer a nib kit, which I've never seen.
Right. And in use, it's fine. I mean, once you've made that connection, it is really fast. But the Surface Pen, for whatever reason, just has a more natural initial connection, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the Surface Pro. It's interesting. There was a little review redlining going on, wasn't there? Because they sent Mary Jo the laptop. And they sent you the Surface Pro.
Yeah, they should have looked at the calendar because they didn't figure out we were traveling together.
It was like, well, Paul, we'll show him the high-end stuff. Not really high-end, but the product designed for more serious hardcore users. And you got the normie laptop.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. God, why do I keep losing? Here it is. I've got it back. What's happening with those new Office desktop apps, Mary Jo?
Let's see. How do we do that?
Yeah, so we mentioned them already. These are the
Centennial
Office apps. Yeah, brought over with Centennial, the desktop porting tool. And one weird thing is the name, what Microsoft's going to call these apps when they're available in the store, which is called Office in the Windows Store. That's the name of this. And right now, if you're on Windows 10s, you can use this in preview, but no other Office users or Windows users can currently use these apps.
So you told me that. I thought, there's no way that's true.
It is,
There's no
right?
way that's true. And it's true. Well, because they're literally shortcutting intercepting the shortcut for the store app. Because anyone with Windows 10 should be able to get this app.
But you can't.
And it's funny because if you have Windows 10S and you have the URL, it will go to the store and let you get the app. And if you have Windows 10 Pro or whatever and you have the URL, it doesn't go to the store. It goes to the Microsoft Store online and it lets you buy Office 365.
Yeah.
It's just not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
It is strange.
I've never seen that before. That's the first.
I know.
The first one.
And earlier this year, Microsoft said they were going to be putting these Centennial apps in the store. But when they talked to us about it before, it made it sound like everybody was going to get to access the preview in June.
Right.
And now when I asked a week ago, I said, okay, so what's the new plan? The new plan is Office in the Store will be available for purchase in the Windows Store by the end of this year, which is a different thing than they told us before.
Yeah.
So I don't know when that is, but if you are not on Windows 10S, you can't even test drive these right now.
It's actually even more confusing than that because,
Is it?
well, yeah. So first of all, if you have Office 365 Commercial, any version, you can't get this now.
No.
It's not in the store. So it will be, right? I think, and I think it won't be until next year,
Right.
but it will be eventually. If you buy a Surface laptop today and you want to get these apps, this is really hard to explain, and you're going to have to kind of bear with me a little bit on this, but there are shortcuts, there are tiles in the Start menu for the Office in the Store app. So, for example, actually, it's funny, they've changed. It says Word, it says...
Yeah, that wasn't the way it was before.
It wasn't the way it was before. That's really strange. Oh, I think they corrected it. They've actually fixed the problem. Oh, Microsoft, you're so cute. So there were tiles in the Start menu that said Word 2016, PowerPoint 2016, Excel 2016.
Yeah.
OneNote, for whatever reason, is the Windows 10 version. If you clicked one of those tiles, the store would load and it would go to a page for Office 365 Personal. Because for some limited amount of time, if you buy a Surface laptop, you get Office 365 Personal for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a year, right?
For a year.
Yep.
Now, the thing is, I have Office 365 Home, and I don't want Office 365 Personal. And I sort of know from past experience that if I click through this, what will happen is I can add 9 months to my Office 365 Home subscription. But what I want to do is download Office 365 Home,
right?
Which you can do if you search in the store. And now on day one, when you originally had this, you could not find Office 365 Home in the store to save your life.
Right.
It was in there. You had to do some weird filters to find it. They fixed that problem too, by the way. So I went and found it. I downloaded Office 365 Home. Now, bear with me. On Windows 10S and in the store, I guess, the difference between Office 365 Home and Personal is different than the difference out in the real world because they actually have additional apps available, which I don't think is the case, with the normal versions. So I'm going to, off the top of my head, Access, Publisher, and Outlook are available if you have Home. Anyway, I downloaded those apps. It's kind of a weird thing. There's actually a download for the Office 365 Home, and then there's a separate download for each of the apps. It downloaded them. It's fine. They work. They come up in the Start menu. But those tiles that were there at launch, that when you first bought the product, if you clicked on one of those, like I click on Word 2016, it would go to Office 365 Personal in the store. Because that tile was not Word 2016 for Office 365 Home. It was Word 2016 for Office 365 Personal. If you've completely lost track of the story, by the way, I apologize.
Yeah.
I did. And it's funny is I'm having this problem, so I'm trying to figure out.
It's craziness. So actually what we just noticed, because you saw it too, they've actually fixed the tiles. So even though I haven't done anything to fix this, Microsoft somehow has fixed this. So now the tiles just say Word, PowerPoint, whatever, without the 2016. And if you click on one, the actual app opens. It's just like a real operating system. That's really neat. So, don't ever say that Microsoft doesn't figure out problems. Anyway, long story short, we're in kind of a transition period. Some of the Office 365 SKUs are available in preview form. It's only the consumer versions. Over time, there'll be more versions. I know it's coming to education and commercial. That might not be till next year. If you intend to use this laptop with those products, if you already have an Office 365 subscription, you'll have to upgrade to Pro and then go to the Office 365 website and just download the normal versions right now because there's no other way to do it.
Right.
So it's a little confusing.
Just a little. Yeah.
If you want me to go through that whole story again, I will, because I feel like
yeah, made Mary
maybe
Jo
some
drink.
visuals
I
would help.
noted. Yeah,
I was like, where's my beer?
yeah.
My life is really terrible.
No, it's not. Come on,
Come on.
come on. Hold on, Eeyore.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a gong in the room, Leo.
There was. Who's got the gong?
Do I get? Did somebody download the Gong app on their phone?
I think
Yep.
so.
Gong. Do I get? So it says with this, I get a free Office 365.
Yep.
I think just for this year.
So I
Yeah,
already
1 year
paid
for the
for it. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
redeemed it.
Yep.
I don't know what's going to happen having redeemed it.
Oh, well.
Doesn't it add it on to your
Nice if I got an
subscription?
extra year. Yeah.
I think it does.
Well, so here's the thing. It would have gone against whatever account you signed in with, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So if you signed in with an account that you already had an Office 365
did.
home subscription,
Yes.
you would have gotten a dialogue that would have given you a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose 9 more months of Office 365
Oh.
home, or you can switch to Office 365 personal, which would be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
I don't think I must have personal. I think whatever I got
Okay,
I got
then
it.
it would have
when
added, yeah. So you would have
But-
seen a date. It would have said, this
No,
is
it
going
didn't
through
say
whatever
anything.
date.
And now it keeps popping up saying you haven't redeemed it. You want to redeem it, but when I say redeem it, it doesn't have the redemption number anymore because it's been used.
Yeah.
It's just a bug. I think I think this Office is a little
Redeem it.
buggy.
Yeah. Well, it's a preview.
Yep. Sure is. Let's
Okay.
talk about the Windows Server moving to the Windows 10 servicing model because I know that Mary Jo's dying to talk about that.
I am. I've been dying to talk about this all day. So you know how Windows 10 has a twice yearly now feature update cadence, and so does Office 365 Pro Plus. Well, Windows Server is going to get this now starting in September. So it's going to be all of these things are going to be timed together to arrive in September and March. And so if you're using Windows Server, why am I drawing a blank? Probably I'm so tired now. If you're using the headless version of Windows Server Core, you are going to be getting this twice yearly. If you are a Nano server, you're already on this more frequent release cadence. If you're on Windows Server Standard or Data Center and you have software assurance, you're going to have the option to go to these semi-annual releases, feature releases. And if you are not, you aren't going to have that option. So Microsoft's just basically aligning Windows Client, Windows Server, and Office Pro Plus around the same updating schedule. I bet we're going to see more of their products align around this schedule too. I don't know what will be next, but it seems like this is the way things are going now.
Don't they? This has happened before, though. Don't they do that? Because it just feels like a nice, orderly cadence, like soldiers marching in step, and then they realize, oh, screw it,
Yeah,
we can't do it because we need to do updates, and it's not
Yeah.
June yet.
Well, no, they'll still do
the
fix
regular
bugs and-
interim updates,
Oh.
but these are the feature
Oh,
updates.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And
I guess
honestly,
you could
with
do that.
server, I don't think it's a big deal if spring comes around and that particular release doesn't have a lot of feature updates. I think
So you
honestly,
just don't take it, right? So
Yeah.
you have an option to defer, but only one of the updates you can defer, not both. So people who are more traditional IT pros and sysadmins, when they heard this, were like, no, right? But when they saw the fine print, I felt like more people were like, oh, okay, it's, I'm going to have options. I'm going to be able to defer. Not everyone's going to love this because some people are like, I don't want this. I don't think the feature updates are tested enough and I'm not ready, but you're going to get them.
This is somebody in the chat room who's obviously a sysadmin. Says this will make it easier for testing cycles, and I guess that's the case.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it's predictable.
Right. They also have changed the wording. So if you were getting used to current branch and current branch for business, nope, we're not using that anymore. Now we're going to semi-annual channel pilot and semi-annual channel broad.
So, at least they're using the ring terminology.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's all coming together, but you may not want it to come together, but it is all coming together. There you have it.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah.
Microsoft versus Kaspersky.
What's that guy's name?
Eugene
Kaspersky. He's Russian antivirus king.
Yeah. So your initial reaction to this should be, this guy's a crazy person. But then you
what did he say?
Well, because in other words, he's complaining about Microsoft and potential antitrust violations related to their behavior with regards to third-party AV products. And it seems like this could not possibly be true. And then you read through his complaints and you're like, well, okay, actually, that is what Windows 10 does. That's kind of interesting. Microsoft this week published an enormous blog post about how they handle third-party AV. I assume it was designed to counter in part his complaints. It seemed it addressed a lot of what he wrote about without ever once using the word Kaspersky. No. But there was a really interesting admission in there, which was that, Microsoft does turn off third-party AV during an upgrade, meaning an upgrade from a previous version of Windows to Windows 10, or even between Windows 10 versions. And so if you imagine like an HP computer that hasn't gotten the Creators Update, if Kaspersky AV hasn't been updated to work with the Creators Update and your computer gets the Creators Update, Windows 10 will actually just turn it off. And Microsoft did say that they do that, but they also said that, these guys have plenty of time to test these things. Like, it's not like we put out new versions of Windows every 2 months. And I think it was designed to kind of head off the complaints, saying, like, basically, most of these things have no problem working with the next version of Windows. There's only a small number that ever has. In fact, it's literally a small number that aren't certified in time to meet, the new Windows version. Meaning, I think Kaspersky. Yeah. So, I guess we'll see what happens here. But the issue is, he has complained to Russia. Yeah. I think Germany, specifically in the EU. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys know this living in Europe, but you guys have kind of a weird thing about privacy, and and also your antitrust laws are designed to protect competition, which is a little different from the United States, where we don't protect anybody. And and I could see the EU being listening to this, And so I think with the privacy things in Windows 10, where Microsoft has been forced to change the design of the operating system so that you have those privacy options right up front. And seriously, thank you for that. We're probably going to see them make changes with AV as well, I would think.
I would think so.
So anyway, I thought it was really interesting that they had a very formal response to this thing without ever once mentioning the company or the complaint. But they did kind of cover all the issues, and they did admit to doing one of the things he said that they did.
Do you want to take questions from the audience, or what are you in the mood for?
Yeah, they're probably wondering why they've been here for so long.
Yeah, they're still here for some reason.
Good job. Thank you.
If anyone has questions, we could do that. The only problem is we don't have a way. Well, actually,
I think this is working. This mic, it's still
working.
on.
No, I know, but he can't.
He can't hear it
unless.
Yeah, we could repeat it.
We could repeat it. Actually, you could turn your microphone or camera to face the person so they could be seen. Let's make sure we have a question first. Does anybody
I'm just going to get the audience.
Does anybody have a
guilt
question?
them into asking a question?
Look at them. They're all asleep. Look at that guy. He's drooling.
Yawning.
So does anybody have a question?
It could be on anything. It doesn't have to be on what we talked about today.
There's Brad in the window.
Hi guys, thanks for being here. I do have a question. Why would I drop $1 or $2 grand on a Surface product when it doesn't have USB-C or Thunderbolt 3 and isn't super future-proof? I heard Panos Panay on the Vergecast, and he's like, "Yeah, it's not really ready yet, but I use a computer like this for 3 to 5 years."
So I agree with you 100%. Thank you for that question.
Did Leo hear that?
Yeah.
No, did you guys hear the question?
Could you repeat it?
Yeah. No. He asked about why would he spend $1,000 to $2,000 on a Surface product that doesn't have USB 3 or USB-C or Thunderbolt 3, meaning that it wouldn't be future-proof.
And
I think. Yeah, and Panos, I think, even went so far as to say, we built a laptop for now, not for the future, right? But
But he also promoted it at launch
I
as
know.
something that would literally get someone through 4 years of
Right.
college. So
it was an odd.
I
mix.
completely agree with that. I guess I'd have to just speculate. I think what they've done is they've invested in this architecture, and this architecture has that Surface Connect port, which is based on USB 3.
Yep.
And for the mainstream body of their customer base, it probably does work fine, right? It's got its pros and its cons and all that kind of stuff.
They're going to have a dongle, aren't they?
But the dongle doesn't add the throughput, which is the real
Oh, right.
beauty of
That's right.
Thunderbolt 3, right?
So it's kind of a half-baked
Yeah,
solution.
actually, I'm not even sure what it is. It's just it doesn't answer the question at all. So I do expect Microsoft, like everyone else, to adopt those technologies in the future.
Yeah.
I hope that this is kind of the last of this stuff,
Yeah.
But I also think, it would be very easy to have added that port to any of these products. So why didn't they do that? And I think it's the architecture. In other words, they've built this thing, they've evolved it over time, and it would require a new, a brand new internal design. So I think we will see it. I think it's just
Not now.
not yet. Yeah.
Anyone else? Some trouble is coming
Brad,
to
an
the
actual human being has a. Brad, how was the boat?
Oh, it was fantastic. Well, I was actually wondering if you'd tell me about the inner workings of Cosmo TV.
Paul, maybe you could have Brad come up and whisper that in your microphone.
Is there anybody else who has a question?
The question was, could Paul explain the inner workings of Cosmos DB?
I can't even explain why it exists, Brad. So-
What is Cosmos? I never heard of that. What is that?
Cosmos DB is a superset of Document DB.
okay, that doesn't really.
I'm helping you. I'm giving you some clues.
Cosmos DB exists because build happened again, and they have to release a new database every time there's a build.
Ah.
It's
No, do you have a real question?
Sadly, the real question is, so Microsoft is coming up on their fiscal year end. What do you guys expect in the next fiscal year? Any big changes from their strategy, or what do you kind of
wow. That's a legitimately good question.
It is.
like?
I feel
Right,
like
so
this is a
Microsoft-
setup here somehow.
It is. I think it is too. Microsoft's next fiscal year starts July 1. So Brad's
Right.
asking, are there any things we're expecting in the coming fiscal that would be of interest?
Well, Microsoft tends to make big changes right after the fiscal year begins, right? So we've seen that past couple summers. I can't think of any product line that needs,
Well,
drastic work.
we're going to see Windows on ARM, right?
No, I mean in the sense of like a Nokia type thing where they need to
like
wind it down.
throwing people out?
Yeah, I don't see that.
There is a change happening, which we've talked about on Windows Weekly a couple times. Microsoft's doing something with their DX division, developer experience. It seems like they're disassembling it and sending people to other teams. So we don't know if that means layoffs are coming or not.
It's probably just a the dev stuff used to be its own thing. It was under
Right.
server for a long time.
Yeah.
During the Sinofsky era, it became part of Windows, and that's why PDC became build, right? Because they
Yep.
wanted to take ownership of that.
Right.
I think it makes sense given the direction of the company that dev or whatever they're calling it now,
DX.
DX, is not part of Windows, right? I think I think that's what.
Yeah. I think a lot of the people will go to the cloud division. Some will go to ISV.
Yeah, there'll be mobile stuff and
yeah.
whatever. Yeah. But that didn't really answer the question now, did it?
Any big changes?
Yeah, any big changes in the coming fiscal year? Right, probably just that $20 billion run rate for cloud, the cloud business. I mean, I think that's going to be the big, the thing we're going to see not just this coming year, but just in the future in general is an expansion of Microsoft's revenues from its cloud businesses.
Well,
right?
then the other question is, will they use the coming fiscal year to try to get back into the mobile game?
No.
As rumored. I think they might.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. That would be disappointing. So someone actually had a real question.
Yes. Restate the question, please.
He was asking about the architecture of the Surface Pro, the new Surface Pro, and why it basically was too late to market, and also why LTE in particular is too late to market.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we've known that a new Surface Pro was coming for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
When they missed the last quarter, I kind of looked at it like they misscheduled this by a quarter, right? Because Surface revenues actually went down year over year, and probably wouldn't have if they had launched that device earlier in the year. I don't actually know why, right? I mean, that's a good question. Why has Surface Pro 4 never had an LTE option? I think Surface 3 was the only one that ever did, if I'm not mistaken. Only Surface Pro. Yeah.
Yep.
The question is Microsoft listening to customers?
So the funny part about that is
Yes.
Microsoft told us and others that the reason they weren't making more Surfaces with LTE built in was because no one wanted it. But now they're going to come out with Windows 10 for ARM and that's going to have built-in LTE.
Built in, yeah.
Yeah. So are they listening to customers?
Yeah.
You be the judge.
Well, no, I mean, so by the way, I mean, Mike, obviously they're listening to customers, but I mean, I guess the question is the feedback they're getting literally saying that there's a small audience of people that wants this kind of functionality? And I guess I buy that. I mean, most people have cellular connectivity they could share to their device.
Right, like tethering phones and stuff.
But yeah, I've always wondered about that. I would just have as an option. And so, they announced Windows 10 on ARM in December, and that was the big selling point. And now they're calling this always connected PCs. And it's not just ARM, by the way, right? It's Intel chipsets as well will have this kind of cellular capability built in as well. But maybe this is tied to that next gen architecture I was talking about for Surface in general, right? That they've kind of milked the Surface Connect architecture, for lack of a better term, for as long as they could, knowing that they would be switching to this always connected PC. And it might just be related to the timing of all this other stuff, right? And so, again, it's funny, like this is seen as kind of a stopgap measure, but I really think the new Surface Pro is kind of cool. I mean, and I don't have an LTE version, but I think this is a great upgrade. So, does that mean that we're not going to see an always connected PC version of Surface next year? Maybe, but there are other Surface products that are ready to be upgraded, this coming year. And I'd like to see them move to that new architecture. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's literally tied to what we were talking about earlier.
Let's do one more, but we have to move on because we're running out of time.
Yes, because it's almost midnight here.
Almost
I know.
middle of the
So-
night. Yeah.
We don't have to do our tips and picks either. We could skip the tips and picks this show if
That's
we want.
true.
It's up to you.
Well, does anyone else have a question first? Oops.
Yeah. Brian.
That's fine. A question, Xbox question.
Yeah, finally. Yeah.
My brother gave me an Xbox last December, best gift ever. And how about Mixer? From the Twitch.
Yep.
What are your feelings about? Will it ever work? Or
Okay, it was an Xbox question, and his question is, will Mixer ever work?
Yeah.
Mixer
Well,
is
in other words,
it's a new feature, right, in the Xbox interface. I noticed that the other day.
Yeah.
What is it?
So Mixer is the new name for Beam, right?
Oh.
It's the Microsoft's alternative to Twitch.
Twitch.
Right.
So I guess
Right.
what you're really asking is, will it ever make any headway against Twitch?
Yeah.
Similar to, say, Bing against Google. I think, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty popular, actually. One of the things that Microsoft did correctly with Xbox is meld the Windows and console ecosystems. And so aside from all the cross-platform play and cross-platform game buying capabilities, you have this ability to broadcast and watch across platforms and have people competing or broadcasting together across platforms as well. It's goofy to me that you can use these platforms to do things that have nothing related to games. And actually, I think there's kind of an interesting publishing possibility there
We
for
should put
people
this
who just
show on Mixer.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? Like
Sorry.
No. Yeah. Right. Wouldn't
You missed my hand gesture.
you wouldn't
wasn't
see
a
it?
nice
I know, Mary.
She's like,
Jo. Yeah.
whatever.
Not exciting to her, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think by virtue of the fact that it's built into the platform is what is going to make it kind of cool.
Yeah.
So on Xbox One or Windows 10, it's just something that's right there, right, from the game bar on Windows 10 or just from the
And when they bought the company, what's the name of the company that was
Beam?
buying? That was Beam.
Yeah.
They didn't actually call that a game streaming thing at the
Right.
beginning.
Right,
They
right,
called it a streaming platform.
right, because it really isn't, right?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people use it for that purpose, but
this
You
is
could
this
use
is
it for
it was
other
called it was BEME, and it was
BEAM, right?
BEAM, not BEME.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's right. CNN bought BEME.
This is like beam.tv was the URL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BEAM.
But I bet if you go there now, it probably goes to mixer.com or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
No, I think I think there are possibilities for Microsoft to use this in the future for things beyond gaming as well. Jeez.
Follow-up question?
Here's another loaded question, Leo. Hold tight.
So see a mixer.com/Surratt, mixer.com/Goodbully anytime soon.
Did you hear that?
Will we see a
Yes.
Thurrott.mixer.com? Is that what he said?
And a Mary Jo Foley.
I guess technically I'm already on Mixer, although I've only done a couple of.
It's just him fragging people and.
It's actually me leaving claymores around a corner and then giggling when I hear the guy blow up when he goes around the corner.
It's not a bad channel. It's just a limited interest.
It's pretty much the same show over and over again. I would like to. I mean, I talked to Brad about possibly covering the Xbox event live on Mixer, but he
that's interesting.
didn't have the technical capacity or.
He wanted to talk about Cosmos.
How do I connect? I mean, before we could do it, we'd have to figure out how would we connect our feed to it. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure.
I'm sure
do
it's
you have
possible.
to go through an Xbox, or is there?
No.
It would be kind of a limited product if you did.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I mean you can. Well, actually, I'm not sure how you would. There must be a. I'm actually not
a hook somewhere in there you can get.
Yeah. No, I mean I know it works from the computer, but there must be a standalone.
Yep.
Yeah, we use a device called the Elemental that encodes everything.
Yeah.
And then sends it
But
to
you guys,
different endpoints.
Is Twit on Twitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should be able to be on Mixer.
So Twitch has an endpoint, that we can. The Elemental will then send the encoded video to. So presumably, they've got something like that for Mixer.
I think so.
I would guess. I would expect.
So
if they didn't, then it would definitely be gaming only, right? You have a scoop?
Yeah, it's but it's not. I mean, if you actually go up to Mixer.com and look, it's a lot like Twitch. Like there's just people are just using it to broadcast. It's just someone sitting in a chair doing it.
Twitch said only gaming. We didn't go on Twitch right away because we thought, you have to be a gaming channel to be on Twitch, but then apparently they didn't care. And we were on Justin TV, their predecessor, and so we just kind of were grandfathered in.
Right.
All right, well, we can investigate that. Yep. That's actually a good idea. Stream the Xbox event. Oh, well, that's over. That was E3.
It's over, but I mean, for the future, it's kind of an interesting idea.
Maybe for the more specialized kind of stuff.
Or just any Microsoft event. You could just do it.
Well, we do a lot of them anyway. I mean, you guys are always at them, so you don't get to be on the streams.
I agree. It's a logistical problem.
Well, we can quickly do the tips, because without the tips, we'd have no beer. Mary Jo, you want to turn the camera back around towards you, though, because I can't see you.
Yep.
And when so I can race this. You want to skip right to the beer?
No. I just want.
Oh, I see.
We could.
Let's get your tip of the week.
Okay, just quickly. There's been a lot of confusion around Windows 10S and the upgrade to Windows 10 Pro. And when Microsoft at some point released a recovery download for the Surface laptop, people said, they changed their minds. They're going to let you go back to Windows 10S from Windows 10 Pro. But that's never been the case. You were always going to be able to go back. The language that Microsoft used, what they were describing was like an in-place upgrade. So in other words, you're running Windows 10S, you say, yes, I want to upgrade. It goes to the store, it downloads something, you reboot, and you're in Windows 10 Pro. It happens very quickly. You can go back to Windows 10S. The issue is that you have to recover the computer. You have to have made a recovery drive or downloaded the recovery drive from Surface.com. So you have to you have to blow it away from space.
So it's the Windows Media Creation tool, and then you create a 10S recovery, or is it a separate? I think it's a separate ISO.
Yeah, it's a different process. Yeah, it's a different process, but it's as simple. It works the same way. You make a USB key, you can go back. So the point is, if you think you want to use Pro for now but want to go back to 10S at any time, you will be able to do that. That was always the case, just like Windows 10 Home and Pro.
There was some question about that initially. I think it was Mashable that discovered you could do this. It wasn't obvious. Okay. In fact, the reason I know that is because I thought at first, for some reason, my Surface laptop identified itself as running Windows 10 Pro.
Yeah.
And I thought they upgraded this while I was gone.
Yeah.
And so I investigated, and I was going to have to download it.
I think people see this thing and they think it's something new and special, and the truth is, it's just another version of Windows. It works exactly.
Yeah.
And
like
as we
everything.
said, you can simulate it. Just as you could simulate a Chromebook by just saying, I'm only going to use Chrome.
Yeah, don't do that. So, a couple of app picks. Spotify for Windows 10 is available in the store today. So that was one of those things that Microsoft announced,
Saw
I think,
that.
back at
Yeah.
Build.
Yeah.
So that's there. It is exactly like the desktop application. No surprise there. But I don't think they added any Windows 10, or I should say, like UWP specific features. But I should look at it a little bit more. I didn't see anything, notifications, whatever. And also, this is kind of interesting. Microsoft Garage released something called Microsoft Dictate for Office. It works for the core Office desktop applications.
And it doesn't
which
work on 10S. You have to have a full Windows.
That's right. Yeah, because it's a plugin. It Win32 plugin. So it works on Office 2013 and 2016, which is itself kind of interesting because instead of adding this directly to Office, where it would become a feature of only the newest version of Office, it actually works across those two versions. It works on Windows 8.1. It works on Windows 10. This is off the top of my head, but I believe it's Word, PowerPoint, Excel. I think it's, yeah. That's pretty cool, right? And so obviously there's dictation features built into Windows itself, but if you just want them in those applications, like I always thought as a writer that maybe someday I'd be walking around talking to myself like a crazy person and writing articles.
Pogo already does that, so just
Yeah. I've tried I've tried those Dragon products over the years, but anyway, something to look at.
I imagine it'd be. I mean, it's kind of like Apple does this with Siri. You can dictate with Siri, and
Yes.
it's a little stripped down compared to the Nuance products and things like that.
I kind of like it being tied to the product, right? Like I only want this for writing.
Right.
I know that people with certain needs might want dictation services all over the operating system or whatever, or voice command services. But
Well, they do, don't they? They have like
I didn't.
voiceover.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Say it again.
They have translation in this thing too,
Ah,
right?
that's
So
cool.
so you could say like hasta la vista, and if you're doing an English presentation, it will just put see you soon.
That's nice.
It'll type that. I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's, really
that's pretty
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Mary Jo, your enterprise pick.
Yes. Enterprise pick is Microsoft Stream, which is the replacement for Office 365 video. It went generally available this week in many countries. This is a product for people who want to share and manage corporate videos. So if you have like training videos, cross-company videos where you want to get information out to your employees, you can use Microsoft Stream to distribute this inside your company or to a set group of business customers. What else do you need to know? It integrates and will integrate with a number of the other Office 365 apps like Teams and Yammer, Groups. It uses Azure Active Directory for authentication. It also has encryption, has speech to text, transcribed audio. So it's a pretty complete service that Microsoft did. There are two ways to get it. One is if you have an Office 365 business or education plan, you're going to be able to get this. Microsoft's going to migrate it to you over time. There also is a standalone version of Microsoft Stream. And you can also use it as a free trial if you want to just try it out and test it. It's available as of yesterday, I believe. So you can go check it out now.
Very nice. And
Yes.
finally, let's have some nice Dutch beer.
Uh-oh. Right. Okay, I'm going to need help pronouncing this, Brian Zion, who brought this in today.
Is this what you're drinking today?
Yes, we had Compan 39 Bloedbroeder. Bloedbroeder?
Does that mean blood beer?
There's some discussion
Blood
about
beer?
the correct pronunciation of this.
So what this is an imperial stout with port added. And he brought one in for us tonight to try at our
Actually, I
meetup.
think that's his pitch. Go back.
Go back.
Oh, Leo, go back to the page.
back.
Is that him in the lower left?
Bainista? No, it looks like it.
No.
No, it does look like you though. Doesn't
He's on Untappd. Yeah. So it's a very good beer. It's from
Oh,
The
maybe it
Hague.
is him, is it?
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's from Compan is the brewery. It's in Den Haag, which means it's local beer for here. And Brian said it's known as the best perhaps.
The Dutch Beer Challenge.
It won the Dutch Beer Challenge as the best.
Wow.
So we get to try it tonight. And if you get to try it and you like a nice, rich imperial stout with coffee and roasty notes, I think you will really like this beer.
Blood brother, which means blood brother, I think. Yeah.
Blood brother?
Blood brother.
Yeah, blood brother.
Blood brother.
Okay.
You know what I love about Holland? The Dutch even can't agree on how things are pronounced. It's like, it's like
Leo, I've said this before. I'm positive this language is completely made up.
it's a beautiful language, and when you hear people speaking it in a group, it sounds very lyrical and beautiful. It's very, I really like it. However, we won't have any more Dutch to kick around because you are done, my friends. How much longer are you going to stay in Holland?
Just
Friday, right?
Yeah, till Friday.
Friday. Yep.
I was looking at all your pictures, Paul, on Instagram and Mary Jo's, and I'm just thinking, oh man, they're having such a good time. It's nice.
I thought you were going to say, oh man, he has a drinking problem.
Some books, they're synonymous. So thank you, Paul Thurrott at Thurrott.com, THUROTT.com, Mary Jo Foley at allaboutmicrosoft.com. And together they host this show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. That would be 1800 UTC, or the middle of the night in Harlem. Thank you for staying up late with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Well, fortunately, it's the summer, so they can still see blue in the sky.
Is it still light? Yeah. It's what, it's about 9:30, 10:30 there, or something like that?
10:30.
So, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks for the audience who came and
thank you so much.
stayed. You guys. And Joost
from Wortel.
There's a lot of confusion about the pronunciation of his name as well.
You did a lot to make that thing work, so thank you so much.
Yeah, we really struggled before the show to get everything sounding good and looking good.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time. Next Wednesday, I'll be back. Paul and Mary Jo will be back in the country, and we will settle down for another Windows Weekly. Have fun, you guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
You too, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody at Wortel and Harlem and everybody. See y'all later. Bye-bye.